KFRC FM and KFRC FM HD1 San Francisco. Classic Hits 106.9. KFRC San Francisco. CBS Radio and 106.9 KFRC present Classic Hits Backstage with Ben Fong Torres.
Hi there, I've got Jeff Trager with me. He's a record promo man from back in the 60s, and here's the first record he worked, and it worked out pretty well. I'm a Man, the Spencer Davis Group on 106.9 KFRC. KFRC and the Spencer Davis Group. Hey, welcome to Classic Hits Backstage, and please welcome Jeff Trager, promo man extraordinaire. He's a longtime friend, and he was helpful to me on my Rolling Stone cover story on Ike and Tina Turner back in 1971. Mainly, he helped me almost get my leg broken after the story ran. But enough about me and my leg. So, what is a promo man anyway, Jeff?
Well, a record promotion guy was a man who would take a record and got it played on the radio. And you would take the music that the label or distributor gave you and said, this is your job to get it played amongst all the competition. There's several ways. Obviously, if you have a name artist, it makes it easier. If they had a history of previous hits, usually it will get listened to by the program director or the music director right away because their life is ratings. But my job was to try to get a record on the radio, and records would build in different places across the country. You take a story, maybe it was selling in New York, it was selling in Chicago, it was selling in Miami. In other words, there was something happening with the record somewhere. Okay, so you try to build that story.
Well, there aren't a whole lot of songs about being on the pop charts, but here's one. Pete Wingfield, a one-hit wonder from 1975 with 18 with a Bullet.
I'm 18 with a bullet. Got my finger on the trigger. I'm gonna pull it. I'm picked to click now. I'm the son of a gun. So hold it right there, little girl, little girl. We're gonna have big a social shot, yeah. I'm a national breakout. So let me check your playlist, mama. Come on, let's make out.
I'm high on the chart, tip for the top. Until I'm in your heart, I ain't never gonna stop. Never, never, baby. If we only stay together, talking about you, talking about me.
I'm 18 with a bullet. Got my finger on the trigger. I'm gonna put it, yes, around. Be my side, baby. Be beside. Soon you'll see we'll have a hit first time. It won't be long, we'll find that we're raising a whole LP. Woo-hoo. You know I'm 18. Woo-hoo. With a bullet. Yes, I am, baby. I got my finger right there on the trigger. I'm gonna pull it, pull it, pull it.
You better stop making plans.
KFRC with Pete Wingfield. And a footnote, that record did reach number 18 in Billboard, Got a Bullet, and peaked at number 15 in 1975. You are backstage. I'm Ben Fontours, and my guest is record promoter Jeff Trager, whose first big success was a record by Ike and Tina Turner. Jeff?
The first record I broke was I've Been Loving You Too Long, which was written by Otis Redding, 1968. It was Ike and Tina Turner. Was their first hit. It got him the Rolling Stones tour. It got him $1 million deal with United Artists. Backstage at the Fillmore, one night, Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin, Ike and Tina Turner, who opened up the show. It was one of the great nights of music I've ever attended. And I was backstage after Ike and Tina played, and Tina was just sweating like profusely, and she grabbed my hand and she had her wig off, and she says, I want to thank you for what you did, because a couple of years ago we were playing bowling alleys, and you breaking that record meant a lot to us. And I realized at that time maybe what I was doing wasn't just dropping off records, but I was making people's dreams come true, as corny as it sounds.
Now, Tina would tell me in our Rolling Stone interview that she came to hate doing that song because of the way Ike choreographed it. A little too steamy for her taste. But here's how it began. On record, Ike and Tina on KFRC.
I've been loving you too long. I don't want to stop now. But you're tired, and you want to be free. But my love for you is growing stronger. You see, you've become a habit to me. I've been loving you that much too long. Please don't make me stop now. Oh, I don't want to stop now. I've been loving you don't wanna stop now. Oh, I don't wanna. Please don't make me stop now. Oh, don't make me stop now. I'm down on my bending knees. Don't make me stop now. Oh, don't make me stop now. Baby, baby, I love you. Honey, honey, child, don't you know that I love you? I said I love you with all my heart and soul. Don't make me stop. Don't make me stop now. Oh, I love you. Oh, said I love you. Oh, don't make me stop now. Oh, oh. You can make me do anything you want me to do. And I'll even say anything you want me to say. Buy anything you want me to buy you. If you just stay and make love to me. If you just make me say, oh baby. Oh baby. Come on, baby. Suck it. Suck it. Suck it. Suck it to me, baby. Oh, baby.
Ike and Tina Turner on KFRC, and that was a major triumph for Jeff Trager, whose job it was to get records onto the radio. Sometimes he'd try to get acts onto the labels he worked for. We'll hear about him and Santana when we return on 106.9 KFR.
Classic Hits Backstage with Ben Fong Torres on 106.9 KFRC.
We are backstage with promo man Jeff Trager, a die-hard music fan who was working for ABC Dunhill and tried to hip them onto a band he knew from hearing them around town, San Francisco, a Mission District-based blues band called Santana.
Well, I knew several guys from the band, from the Mission District and from Aquatic Park, because we used to go down there, and Michael Carabello, for example, we used to go down there a lot with Carlos, and they used to sit around and play down at Aquatic. But I used to go down to the Carousel Ballroom and listen to the band. And here, I mean, I love the band. I could sense that there was something going on here because the young girls were screaming, and it had an animal sound to it. It was just great. It was the guys from the neighborhood, but they were onto something, and you could sense it. And now all of a sudden I'm in the record business, and I'm working for ABC Dunhill, for example, and they have the Mamas and the Papas, and they have Steppenwolf, and they sent up a rep to see the band. They just didn't get it. They just they were more interested in breaking their other groups.
Well, Santana came to the Mission by way of Tijuana, where he was happy playing R&B and the blues in bars, even though he was still a teenager. He met a lot of people with evil ways, to be sure. The rest of his family had moved to San Francisco, and it wasn't easy getting Carlos here, but I think he's glad he made the move. Santana on 106.9 KFRC.
You got to change your evil ways, baby. Before I stop loving you, you got to change, baby. And every word that I say is true. You got me running and hiding all over town. You got me sneaking and peeping and running down. This can't go on. Lord knows you got to change, baby. Baby, when I come home, baby, my house is dark and my pops are cold. You hang around, baby.
Santana on KFRC. Me llamo Ben Fontours, and my guest on this Sunday get-together of ours is Jeff Trager, a natural when it came to promoting records. He was a music lover, he was charming, and he knew how to cajole radio station program directors to see or hear things his way, as with a certain Joni Mitchell record in 1974.
That was one of my proudest moments as a promotion man. And this is, when I say break a record and force somebody to play a record, the program director at the biggest station in town said to me, Joni's a folk artist. And so I brought in a spreadsheet of how the single was doing across the country. I said, let me show you 12 major markets. I'm talking Chicago, I'm talking New York, I'm talking Detroit, I'm talking Los Angeles, where the single, a 3-minute single is being bought by the multitudes. I mean, it's a hit single. Okay, how can you not understand Help Me, I'm Falling in Love? So he added the record. The record all of a sudden started getting added all over the country and becomes a big hit. Well, it takes the album from 500,000 units to over 3 million units and makes Joni Mitchell a hit pop artist.
Help Me got into the top 10 with thanks to Jeff Trager.
Help me, I think I'm falling in love again. When I get that crazy feeling, I know I'm in trouble again. I'm in trouble, 'cause you're a rambler and a gambler and a sweet-talking ladies' man. And you love your loving. Not like you love your freedom. Help me, I think I'm falling in love too fast. It's got me hoping for the future and worrying about the past. 'Cause I've seen some hard places come down to smoke and ash. We love our loving, not like we love our freedom. Oh, didn't it feel good? We were sitting there talking, or lying in our talking. Didn't it feel good? We danced with a lady with a hole in her stocking. Didn't it feel good? Didn't it feel good? Didn't it feel good? Help me, I think I'm falling in love with you. Are you gonna let me go there by myself? That's such a lonely thing to do. Both of us flirting around, flirting and flirting, hurting too. We love our loving, not like we love our freedom.
Joni Mitchell on KFRC with me, Ben Fontours, and Jeff Trager, a record promoter who works with Dig Music nowadays, and artists ranging from the phenomenal singer-songwriter Jackie Green to veterans like Cold Blood and Sal Valentino. He started in the biz in 1967, and boy, what a first few weeks.
Here I am in the record business, 2 weeks. I've already met Herb Alpert. I met Quincy Jones in the first 2 weeks. of being in the record business, and then we got the Rolling Stones coming in, and it was great. I got to drive Bill Wyman and Charlie Watts around. But I got to go backstage and hang with the Rolling Stones.
Well, Jeff was a big jazz fan as a kid, so he must have had fun yakking with Charlie and Bill Wyman about music, right?
Yeah, Charlie especially, and because he went on to do his own jazz records. But we didn't talk about jazz. They were more interested in going up to Grand Avenue and buying clothes up there. I would take them around. So where can we buy this? Where can we buy that? And all the bands, especially the British bands.
Well, they're just dedicated followers of fashion, I guess. Here are the Stones with what else can I play for Jeff Trager except this one, Under Assistant West Coast Promotion Man on KFRC. KFRC with the Rolling Stones, and we'll be back with more from promo man Jeff Trager and some great dance music, slow and fast, when we return right after this on 106.9 KFR.
And now, Classic Hits Backstage with Ben Fong Torres returns on 106.9 KFRC.
Thank you. We are with Jeff Trager, a San Francisco native who says that it was the late Mayor George Moscone, a fellow music lover, who encouraged him to get into the music business. Jeff did, and he did great, hipping radio stations to records he was hired to promote. But he often strayed into A&R, that is, talent scouting, as with a certain East Bay band that he loved.
Well, Tower had one record out on San Francisco Records, okay, and then they did a track on Vaco's Lights Out, which was terrific. And they were playing around, and they didn't have a label deal. And I was working with Elektra Records, Jack Holzman, who signed The Doors, signed Judy Collins, among other people, signed Bread, made millions of dollars. I told him about Tower of Power, and he came out and said to me, I heard them a year ago. They don't really impress me. And I went back to the office and I ran into Joe Smith, who happened to be the president of Warner Brothers, and I told him the story, and he says, I love that group, and he immediately called his office. He says, I want you to put that deal through. I think they're a great group. And then he turned to me and he says, how would you like to do A&R for me under the table? And I said, you got it.
Oh, and here they are. What a song, what a performance, what a band, and what a message.
Wasting my time. Don't waste your time. Back once again. Ooh, just begging you, please, darling. What it means when a man comes to you.
Tower of Power on KFRC. You are backstage with me, Ben Fontours, along with my guest, Jeff Trager. Both of us have been around long enough to appreciate the people who started the whole San Francisco music scene. People like Chet Helms and Ralph J. Gleason, Wavy Gravy, Jan Wenner, and these three. Here's Jeff.
I would say that the three names that I really believe that really changed music dramatically were Russ Solomon through Tower Records, Bill Graham coming on the scene a little bit earlier and bringing the music that he was. And at the same time, you had a radio station started by Tom Donahue and his staff of wonderful, wonderful disc jockeys who could play just about anything. And San Francisco being as diverse as it is, it was just a perfect place for for music explosion. And that's exactly what had happened.
Well, it's perfect that Jeff mentioned Tom Donahue. April 7th is an anniversary date. That day in 1967, KMPX was inaugurated as a full-time free-form rock station on the FM dial, which was home mostly to esoteric, stereophile, minority interests back in the 60s. And KMPX was located at 106.9, which is where we are right now with KFRC. So, for this week's San Francisco Sound, I say we hear a bit of Tom Donahue at the station he and most of his staff moved to after a strike at KMPX, and to some Jefferson Airplane and Embryonic Journey, here on 106.9 KFRC.
That's all for tonight. This is Tom Donahue inviting you to listen in Los Angeles if you live there, visiting there, on KMET at 94.7. In San Francisco, Oakland, it's KSAN, Metro Media Stereo 95.
And that's the way it was, and that's the way it is. And it's always changing, and it is always the same. How's that for psychedelic?
Sounds on KFRC with Jefferson Airplane, Jorma Kaukonen on guitar. You are tuned into Classic Hits Backstage. I'm Ben Fontours, and Jeff Trager, former promo man, is my guest. One of his favorite moments in his long career took place in 1977 with the Bee Gees, who were riding high on their work on the soundtrack of Saturday Night Fever when they came to the Bay Area.
The Bee Gees came into town to do a concert, and they had the day off, and I asked them to go up to Children's Hospital here in San Francisco and sing Christmas carols. And Barry Gibb says, sure. And these kids were screaming. They didn't know who they were, but all the camera people from the television stations and radio, I mean, everybody that was there, then the nurses and doctors, everybody it was so beautiful. They were crying because can you imagine the Bee Gees doing Christmas carols with their harmonies? It was really one of the most beautiful moments that I've had in the music business.
Very sweet of those Bee Gees to do that. Of course, they were into the disco thing then, so it must have been odd for the kids to hear them singing Oh Holy Night Fever, Night Fever. Now let's let them do it. On Classic Hits 106.9 KFRC. KFRC with the Bee Gees, just one of hundreds of artists who got a boost from Jeff Trager, promo man extraordinaire. We'll wrap up our visit with him right after this on 106.9 KFRC.
6.9 KFRC.
Thank you. We are with Jeff Trager, who began as a promoter for record companies and then did some A&R work helping sign bands to labels. He worked with a lot of great artists, and one of the greatest, if he did say so himself, was the godfather of soul.
When I went to work for Polydor, the first thing they told me was James Brown will be coming through San Francisco occasionally. And the first thing he'll tell you is that he's the president of Polydor Records. Please do not believe him. And so here comes James Brown into town. We did a promotional tour, and I took him to People Are Talking, which was Ross McGowan and Ann Fraser. And James goes in and spends 5 minutes with Ross, and Ross comes out and grabs me and says, I can't understand a word he's saying. How can I put him on the radio? But he was, James was James.
Well, I interviewed Mr. Brown, as he liked to be called, and understood most of what he was saying, especially when he was singing. KFRC with James Brown, the pretend president of Polydor Records. My guest, Jeff Trager, has an ear for hit music, even in songs like the Chariots of Fire theme, which he predicted could be a smash, and it was. Same thing with a song from the Moody Blues album, Days of Future Past, the orchestral Nights in White Satin.
I felt that was a Nights in White Satin could have been a hit record, but it wasn't the kind of record that you would hear on the radio. So record company didn't want to put it out and work it as a single, and I kept saying, that's a hit single. And they said, why? He says, well, we're selling a lot of albums, okay? I think that if you put this on the radio, no matter what you think, I used to go to record stores a lot, and I knew that album was really a classic departure as far as music was concerned. So I said, if 3 minutes of this could get on the radio, top 40 radio, I think you could have a hit record. And that's exactly what happened.
Nights in white satin, never reaching the end. Letters I've written, never meaning to send. Beauty I'd always missed with these eyes before. Just what the truth is, I can can't say anymore, 'cause I love you. Yes, I love you. Gazing at people, some hand in hand, just what I'm going through, they can understand. Some try to tell me thoughts they cannot defend, just what you want to be, you will be in the end. And I love you. Yes, I love you. In white satin, never reaching the end. Letters I've written, never meaning to send. Beauty I've always missed with these eyes before. Just what the truth is, I can't say anymore, 'cause I love you. Yes, I love you. Yes, I love you. Yes, I love you.
The Moody Blues on KFRC. Our guest has been record promoter and A&R guy Jeff Trager, and he continues to work in music. Lots of times just to give back by helping produce musical benefits for groups like the Hamilton Family Homeless Center and for breast cancer awareness. He's helped raise funds to buy instruments for a music department in a school in Fairfield. He's produced the annual Voices in Latin Rock to raise money for autism awareness. And as head of A&R at Dig Music out of Sacramento, he keeps his ears open for new talent, whether it's a teenage classical vocalist like Holly Stell or the eclectic blues and rock singer-songwriter Jackie Green. He is a voice you'll be hearing more of. In fact, let's hear him right now. Jackie Green is based in San Francisco, an amazing young talent. In fact, by coincidence, he's on the cover of the Pink section in the Chronicle today. This one, to me, echoes the Stones with a little Sal Valentino. Not a bad blend at all. Farewell, so long, goodbye on KFRC.
Well, I stand inside your doorway, honey, I don't feel a thing. You're always looking for me, and what I don't ever bring. Now I'm gone, that makes any sense to me. So now I'm gone, and don't you ask me why. I don't belong, but I don't even try. A farewell, so long, goodbye.
Jackie Green on KFRC, and he's in concert at the Fillmore here in San Francisco on Thursday the 10th. He is on his way. Hey, I just mentioned the Stones a moment ago. Well, my guest this past hour, Jeff Trager, talked about Tom Donahue, the radio pioneer, and one of Tom's absolute favorite bands was the Rolling Stones. So let's close out this hour with a bit of Stones, doing an Arthur Alexander song, You Better Move On 106.9 KFRC.
You asked me to give up the hand of the girl I love. You tell me I'm not the man she's worthy of. But who are you to tell her who to love? That's up to her. Yes, and the Lord above. You better move on.